Hi everyone, I'm Tina. This is To the Inner Wild. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for all you subscribers and those contemplating it. I like it better when I don't plan the intro. When I do things staged, I lose that spark. People can stage their act under the terms of just getting by or to gain some reward, right? Intrinsic versus extrinsic value.
When I began, my intentions were to become more self-reliant and open to more than just what's right in front of me. While I was very accepting, it wasn't enough without practice in reaching out, but rather just receiving. Doing tarot and making promising character judgments was super helpful and kind of heartbreaking along the way, but the best part of it was that I still showed my admiration and love for these characters unconditional to what I received. So the reach was there, but sans discernment. Then, as I practiced more with spirit, I was able to find their soft spots and love that part of them. It helped me put things into perspective, so even when I look at celebrities, I caution not to glorify them, to let their work speak for themselves, also knowing it's only a snapshot of their story. I make an effort to see my work that way too now, and it's been extremely helpful to work with the sources my guides and intuition led me to. You have no idea how instantaneous the changes happened. Anyway, back to the scene of letting magic happen by allowing spirit to lead the way, affirming the experience as worth the intrinsic value alone.
I didn't choose the topic. I just invite the angels in. Or you have to ask for help. Realize that it just doesn't click until there's a surrender. When you release the expectation. Oh gosh, what is that? Nine of Swords in reverse.
Holy mama, that was confirmation on surrendering control and controlling patterns. I think the misspeak was foretelling of others impeding on my space. By impeding, I mean spiritual illegalities.
You mean all of this crime, we could have been friends? All this time. Gosh. Maybe somebody did you dirty. Or did something dirty. I feel that. Anyway, it says, you mean all this time we could have been friends? Friends? How many others have them? Friends. Ones we can depend on. Friends. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to remember it. I'm trying to draw in this imagery because this is the first time that I'm working with them, and I cleanse them in a way that is underneath the moonlight. Anyway, there's 4 people here. What we can see is just their heads down below. And let me actually get a crystal out so that I can use a pointer. Oh, Super 7 right here. We have 4 heads. That gives me the 4 of Swords energy just separated, which is healing. And then we have what's supposed to be the 9 of Swords right here, but they're like plungers, which is really weird to me. Why is that? But it's obviously a starlet. Since I can't place a name to this face, it's someone that's aspiring for some kind of spotlight to be noticed. It doesn't have to be ultimate fame and glory. By the way, it's a half moon out tonight. A sheath of clouds before it, so it's illuminating. The 5 of Pentacles energy, left alone, desolate, destitute. And this is often the sand. So strange to me what that could mean.
She's deserted under harsher conditions than the cold of the 5 of Pentacles indicates, but she is just a hermit, a nomad who is just taking rest in absolute solitude, feeling like the 5 of Cups on her bad days. It's a surrender of leaving situations and the scenic view behind.
I think this lady is trying to just grin and bear it, where she's at, knowing that she's within this feeling of the 9 of Swords, with spectators here. They're like darted arrows off to the side, but it's hard to see.
It's also knowing along the way that when there's poor lighting or the storyline is determined only as it moves along, that you can't let it stop you from performing or allow your personal judgments to impact your character.
Well, I'm not going to gripe too much about it. You know, like Norma Jean Baker, aka Marilyn Monroe, the only thing that really drew attention to her was that she dyed her hair from brown to blonde, and then she became some kind of a vixen. Maybe these spectators are seeing her transform, but she's going through some pain still, which is still in the background, yet she's still trying to make the best of it. So these people are quiet. They may be healing as well. Oh my gosh. Like half the deck fell.
A physical reminder of our tower moments. When things collapse, part of the coping is from the collateral damage to other realms of our being. This is part of the abundance of our karmic lessons, that we learn to adapt and evolve our adaptation skills.
That's not what I was going for at all. Not at all. Anyway, maybe it'll give us some time to talk a little bit, yeah? I'm guessing so. They went in one whole chunk, so I've learned my lesson with the last video that I edited, and I'm gonna put those aside until I can figure out how to
For the most part, adapting means being practical with our solutions.
push through the other stuff, maybe through the packaging. I can do that. By the way, today, no big news, but I decided I would honor my worth and stop saving special occasion things for a special occasion. You know, wondering when that would be. And although it's very minute in its weight, okay, let me just tell you first off what I'm talking about. I'm wearing a skirt that I've had since I was 18 or 19 years old, and it is the punk skirt, which I still think is as cool as the first day that I got it. It's covered with Sid Vicious and the Sex Pistols, and it wasn't like they were my favorite band or anything. It was more like the essence of the era, the attitudes behind it, and I wasn't some major rebel. I mean, I did some pretty rebellious things, but how do I say it? The frequency was not as often as most. So my rebellious choices were pretty heavy back in the day, before kids. I'm almost there.
This is just another nice reminder that we create our own experiences, whether the pieces are together or fallen.
I'm wearing the skirt, and I love it. It's cool. I decided things have been sitting around for too long. I have so many resources. I am tired of treating myself like I don't deserve to wear these things or find the enjoyment in what I have, because I'm saving it for a good time when I'll feel that much better in the company of others. Because, you know, we don't like to feel like ish when we're around other people, right? Well, I just need to check if I got all of them. Yeah, it appears so. Okay, so let's get back on it. But yeah, I was really tired of selling myself short. Yeah, I was tired of putting myself in the back burner, like I wasn't important enough to feel special unless I was around other people. You know, kind of saving my best for being in the presence of others. And I think that's also due to being an introvert.
I'll explain a bit because this might be hard to understand for other personalities. It's a low-key self-preservation method I had as an empath introvert. It's mainly due to exhaustion, being around a lot of energy. The giving and receiving are different dynamics to a direct exchange. So when I'm in a crowded area, I feel like both a beacon and a radar with low battery, whereas in a direct exchange, it's a conversation that is attempting to make a firm bond. The energies are hence more focused.
Which is, you know, fine and all, but I need to exercise behaviors as if I was the only one that existed here. I would still want to treat myself well. I don't want to judge myself in the eyes of others. And I think that's a very important thing when we're looking at this card. That when we're healing and when we're working hard to achieve something, even if it's to be noticed, which is vain at first glance, but when you look at it, that smile that she's holding on her face, nah, is an effort. Yeah, it is an effort on its own. Do you see how when she was a little girl? This reminds me of like a growth chart. Can you see it? Do you see the lines? Like at a very young age, you have to be this tall to get to this stride. Then you have to be this tall. So it's like this constant laddering up effort in order to get where she is right now, which is leaving behind this deathly presence, whatever that might represent, and looking on to better things. She looks like she's a spectacle, though. There's two different dynamics. There's like this sheath over here, so she's not really identifying with these people here. Oh, am I not identifying with all of you?
So this is the second time I use the term sheath in the same reading, which tells me there's something mysterious about what she's going through to the audience. They keep quiet to observe rather than distract because they understand this energy of what she left behind. It is the same darkness as their own. So looking back, I think that was the initial impression. But with time and practice, she became more relatable. Then the context formed to shielding her energy to focus on what she's doing, like the hangman, but in action, becoming enlightened, having to observe and move along as if on a conveyor belt in his environment. Being humbled by discipline, he actively becomes comparable to the blend of all pages, both messenger and student of all the suits.
Should I engage more? I don't know, you tell me. I know you don't want to hurt me, so I think anyone that wants to isn't brave enough to do it outright. I think in essence they just feel bad, and so they kind of want to do it behind the scenes. Whatever, I'm not supposed to pay attention to that, and neither are you if you're going through the same thing. But I think that these people are kind of separate and not seeing her as a spectacle, but more like, what is she gonna do? Like, what's gonna happen next? And I don't think that this is like entertainment value, because you see heads turn towards each other in conversation. There's a certain way that their heads are held, is that they're interested in seeing what's happening, but they're not quite helping. And I think that's what you want to do with a growing child. And so maybe she's emerging out of it, so people are kind of also watching on that too. Elevating, it's just that turning point where everyone's interested in what's going to happen next. And I don't know, I don't really see myself in that light, but energetically it speaks so.
Energy flows beyond one dimension.
We have the Two of Pentacles in reverse, and then the Three of Pentacles in reverse. We're just going to speak to this real quick. Oh gosh. So there's imbalance. He's basically an old-time mime that spoke a lot for the way things are going. I think there was wartime in that day, and that was a source of entertainment, that it was a different value, a different scene, a different realm in which someone presented and could communicate without the frequency, the availability of words, that one chose to speak without those words and was still present and relevant within the times to speak to it and like entertain people at the same time. He's balancing energy between light and dark, happiness and sadness. Right now it looks like sadness is outweighing the happiness factor, and with this he's wearing a dunce cap almost, you see, like with his black cape, so he's in the dark night of the soul, which puts him more in touch with the world about him, because everyone goes through that, whether they intend to do the shadow work to approach it or if it confronts them like intervention. So one must balance between the two. That's inevitable. They all go through ups and downs, and sometimes the downs seem so plummeting. Oh my gosh, don't fall, please. Okay. Let's split the deck, so I'm gonna look at that in just a sec, but there's abundance in it too. So much abundance in the act of balancing that it almost feels like it's a show, it's a stage, and he looks like a fool. He has that fool-like energy, and it came in reverse. Since his feet are at the top and they're kind of buckled out, there's that fool-like energy of openness and uncertainty. So that's at the forefront due to this imbalance. And then the Three of Pentacles is building them together. There's a co-creating energy, like Michelangelo with this creation, the touch. It almost feels like the Midas touch. This divine being is in touch with mankind, who is receiving it and then grounding it, literally grounding it. His feet to this pentacle, this heightening energy here. And that's at the pinnacle of the church. It's not seen, but it's kind of known. And then even like the scholars, the priestly scholars, are looking above at this energy, recognizing it. And that's really cool, but it's in reverse. So there's a dissonance. The people in power don't like to see all of that happening because it puts them in a seat of lacking rather than divine royalty stance. I think it's expected in the human condition of what fear can do in transforming people's perceptions, in security where they stand, not just outward perceptions, what they think of a person, but also what that means for them. This is stuck angelic energy. This is not in the pursuit to take over. If you really look at it, the focus is on connection with the divine, finding that bridge with the divine in order to bring it down. Because he can take it, just like everybody else has, really. It's almost like the sword and the stone. If you present the particular energies in order to be in closer union and handle that information more responsibly so that we lean towards cures and band-aid treatments, then there's nothing really to fear. He can take it and do whatever he wants with it, but instead he chooses to crown this, not just the scene, I guess casually speaking, the realm. So these people are kind of in awe. But I'm going to put these back into the deck. Maybe there's some dissonance. It's important to recognize that, to be aware of your surroundings, right? As if you were to teach a child. Oh, here's the bottom. No entry. Veto of Cups.
This deck is unique because it portrays wild cards in each suit. The veto is our mark of free will, our hand at destiny. It could also be an open door to strategy. Does that mean I offer the situation love or choose to walk away? Do I choose to show others love despite their ability or willingness to see or acknowledge it? Do I turn a blind eye to everything that surrounds me? Or can I offer the whole situation love through creative solutions? Either way, I wouldn't dismiss the hand at discernment to the strong hand of the veto.
I'm guessing this is the Knight, because the Knight also protects and says who stays and who goes.
The illustration tells me there's a need to start with ourselves. The work will show for itself. We've already succeeded at auditions, and now it's just the rehearsal, studying our character and threshold before we fill the seats. Having established as is worthiness, we clarify our position, story, backdrop, and character. Here we learn what it means to stand and be okay alone. The stage fright subsides because we know our role and are showing up every day, finding different angles to get better at it. I think Spirit here is the ticket usher, which is really cool.
So there's no entry in this.
Oh my goodness, I've questioned myself hundreds of times since this recorded, but I realized in practice that this was a test too. Remember, Spirit customizes our exams to strengthen areas that need it. For most of us, it's patience and trust, but it branches out to different areas of our lives. We look at these instances like accidents on the side of the road, straining our necks given the distraction of a mishap or a mistake, when we just need to keep moving along.
Alright, we're just going to keep going with this. Angels, ancestors, guardians, and guides. I invite you in for now a formal read. I hope you're doing well. I had a lot of ups and downs today. Less extreme than yesterday. Something popped up. It's the Four of Wands. But it shows the setup. It's like the Ten of Cups energy. Everything you could ever want, except what? This is for self?
This feeling is correct. As I'm learning, the Four of Wands is also about personal achievements, which also means releasing self from expectations. This is domestic victory, which includes those relating to your personal temple.
I just don't understand. There's two females here that are bookended.
This could be a same-sex, kin, or twin flame relationship, but for most, it's singularly speaking a mirror to self and ascending in duality. I also got another vibe from it, but refrain from speaking it due to any ego-based biases I might have. It's the reader's responsibility to represent each party well, without letting ego overpower judgment. Now, given the right intention, the energy will flow true to form rather than pre-selected by the dominant value of your reader.
Okay, I need to be able to surrender. Wherever you want to take us, Spirit. What would you like to convey? Okay, that's a definite one. I saw 2, 4, 4, 2. 8, 4 of Wands came out again, and the 3 of Cups. So there is going to be
a reunion. In my readings, I've learned to refrain from getting hopes up and rushing into things, so I focus on self-improvement through the unification of dualities within self. I believe this focus is much more relevant and necessary to the preparatory factor in the fluidity of the aKin or twin flame journey. You must be committed to your own growth, so you are that much more equipped to reciprocate on higher levels of attainment. Now, a lot can happen during that time, but some parts are meant to be left a mystery, or rather surprise.
the setup. It looks like a major wedding. You see the scene?
My confusion here depicts the reality that I haven't met someone of that nature yet. However, when we exhibit the energy that supports such a journey, the cards reveal it because like attracts like.
Yeah. That's really nice. I think we could all use that for one's energy, whether or not we have someone special in our life to share it with. But obviously we are, because the Three of Cups energy came in upright.
And whenever you achieve the Four of Wands, it's always celebratory.
It's a celebration of a wedding to be. The cake topper is a Monopoly guy. Went past go. Interesting. But it's also third party energy. You see her two friends that are celebrating with her? Both represent the heart chakra. But then, because of that body language, you see this one's like the real friend here. This one